this is my friend. He is burnt bread, and I'm hoping he's a totem for not burning anything. So he's my good luck charm. Anyway, for this recipe I have to make the crumble first, so I'm trying to get my head around. Gonna get my energy drink. Not that I haven't already had my coffee today, but I need a little something extra today because I woke up at like 6 a.m. for some reason. Yeah, well, you know what? He's already burnt, so... Oh, I'm not gonna say anything bad about him while he's here. Give me good luck. Thank you. Okay, yes. I have to make crumble. It is a Celsius sparkling peach vibe. Not sponsored by Celsius. I guess my energy is sponsored by Celsius, but this stream is not sponsored by anybody but me. And I suppose Dave. Yeah. Let's make this a little less chaotic. I'm also gonna switch out this butter because it's really soft. Oh, yerba mate? Yeah, that's pretty popular here too. I mean, I know you can get it as a tea in most places. I don't know. Oh, that was almost right. I don't know if you can make it into like a soda the way that they do, but I'm sure it's just like iced tea or something. Also, like, I don't really know what I was doing last time with the hot plate, because I could have just melted this butter in a microwave. Why won't you turn off? Hello? There we go. Alright, well that's going. We're gonna do 90 grams of flour. And then 55 grams of light or dark brown sugar. I'm gonna use light just because I like to save the dark for like gingerbread or molasses cookies. And I also have like, I don't know, 4 pounds of light brown, so better use it. There we go. Now crumble calls for oats, but obviously I'm not going to put that into my recipe. So we're going to use coconut instead. Oh, of course. And she wants to do this by volume, so here we go. Coconut. I mean, coconut and oats seem to be pretty much the same, so. Is it? I mean, why did I even buy this? I bought this. I don't remember why I bought this, but I have it, so that's why I'm using it. So we got the coconut. Now we're gonna need the salt. And then baking powder. Now we're ready for the butter. The butter wasn't ready for me, so we're just gonna wait for that. Okay, while we're doing that, I'm just gonna go to the recipe. I mean, I think the crumble is kind of optional, but I'm just gonna do everything by the book. Literally. Alright, let's get a spatula. I can't plan ahead. Like I said, this is an energy drink kind of day. Butter, 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 butter. All right, cool. That's true. It wouldn't be my fault. I may do something a little weird. Oh, hello, likely harasser. Oh my goodness. Well, so the recipe calls for something like, yeah, so 60 grams of freeze-dried fruit, and I bought a couple different ones. I don't really want to mix the flavors. I don't think anything will go really wrong with mixing them. I just don't really want to do it. So instead, I was thinking of doing like just half unflavored and half fruited, and then kind of like mashing them together into one cookie. I mean, since the only thing different between the two would be the fruit powder, I don't think it'll significantly change how it turns out. But I don't know. I've never made this recipe before, which is why I'm doing it now on stream. For everybody to see me fail. Or succeed, I don't know. But probably just be very mid. Yeah, I think it sounds fun. Alright, so this version of the crumble is gonna be like a coating instead of a topping, so I think it being kind of loose is probably fine. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for. I don't know if you would call it marble cookies. I would call it maybe like panda cookies, because like it's more splotchy, or like cow cookies. But cow cookies might make it sound more like there's dairy in it, or I mean there is dairy in it, but like there's like cows in it or something. And that'd be really awkward. We don't need this anymore. And we don't need this anymore. Hello, Sebastian Raven 92. Cookies made of cows. I mean, I guess like an epic bar would be like a cow cookie, right? It's like in a shape. I'm so sleepy. Yes, it's in a shape. Nice to meet you too. Thanks for joining the stream. We're just making some fruity doodle cookies here. We're kind of just getting started and I'm super sleepy, so we'll see how this goes. I'm also not used to baking and talking at the same time, so yeah, anything could happen. All right, so I put the bowl in without actually putting anything in it, so that's mistake number one. Yeah, fruity doody, right? And I mean, it rhymes, so just rolls off the tongue. My scales button is acting up, sadly. I hope I don't have to replace it already, because I've only had this for, I don't know, like a year or two. Alright, let's get this going. We got butter, 200 grams of butter. And like the recipe says, you can obviously use vegan butter. The recipe does use an egg though, so if you must egg replacement, I can't help you with that. So I'm hoping butter straight from the fridge and softer than usual butter will somehow normalize in temperature and get me what I want. It's sort of like science and magical thinking at the same time. Almost there. Almost there? There we go. Sweet rice. Is that just like steamed rice or like a rice pudding or something? You know what? I hope that happens, because that would be awesome. I would totally make a note of how I did that and then keep summoning demons. And you know what? Since this is being recorded, I don't even have to take notes. Yeah, right? There's actually a horror movie. I forget what it's called. Like David Dalsmatian or something. Oh, I forgot what his name actually is. I think his name is David. He was in it. And I think the movie might be called Late Night with the Devil or something. It's kind of like set up as a fictional... Well, it's set up to look like it was like a found footage documentary sort of thing. Where this guy is like a late night host and he gets a bunch of people to like come on his show and like summon a demon. I don't know if it's a spoiler to say if it like worked, because I'm pretty sure if you knew it was a horror movie, like you would have guessed that it did work. But yeah, I won't spoil anything more of that movie. It was like pretty alright, so you know, if anyone out there likes horror movies or like interesting horror-y movies, I would definitely give that a check. Alright, so we got butter, sugar, salt, now baking powder. And I'm going to read chat when this starts going. Baking soda. thing about Alien Romulus. I haven't really been watching that series. Like, I saw Prometheus back when I didn't know it was an alien movie, and then I watched like all of the old alien movies, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm good on this. Wow, yikes. That sounds scary. Disaster. Like you were in there after it happened or during? Alright, time to scrape, scrape. And again. Wow, that sounds intense. Did you go as like one of those urban explorers or something? Or hey, that's what I said. Don't worry, yeah. Wait, so were you in there because you knew it was kind of like a paranormal place and like you're into that kind of thing? I will take a look later, thank you. Alright, what do you think? Light and fluffy? Let me know in the comments. Yay! Alright, time for the egg. Just between you and me, that egg looked a little bit suspicious. But I think it's actually fine. Alright, I gotta grind up the fruit now. Actually, it's not that easy to do marbling because looks like we're adding the fruit in before the flour. So I can't just like rub them together like Play-Doh. But what I think I'm gonna do is I'll just add some strawberry to this. This is also probably gonna sound pretty bad because it's a spice grinder. So I believe this guy is called Kogepan. Yeah. He is called Kogepan. He is a San X character, so like Sanrio. He means burnt bread. So he's kind of like a little more brown on top right here. So he's gonna be, or he is my good luck charm for not burning any of my other stuff. He's gonna take all the burntness into himself. Wow, this grinder makes me mad. Like about half of this just came out along the sides. Again, making a mess all the time, every time. Yes, Kogepan, burnt bread. Also, hello Diana and Dave. Oh, thank you, Sebastian. If it's not completely apparent, I am a big foodie. Not just making, but of course eating. And I actually managed to convince myself to treat myself today. I had a pretty good month of work. Well, not work, but income. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I should, right? But like I was telling Karu, it's just so hard. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah! Alright. You know, K-Roo. Okay. You know, like when I used to eat cereal and they would have like special K with berries and it's basically like this stuff. This was like my favorite part of that cereal. Like I think I would just pick this out and I wouldn't put the milk on top of it. Yeah! That's like, oh yeah, I'll just eat like this boring cereal part that tastes like, you know, hay. And then like, for dessert, I'll have the freeze-dried fruit. Yeah, it is, yeah. Although, you know, like, so I used to work at a Starbucks, and I don't think, like, people who bought pink drinks didn't really want the mix-ins. Like, they kind of just wanted the refresher and then the coconut milk. And I kind of get it, because, like, when you wet the freeze-dried fruit, it kind of makes it this kind of weird, slimy texture. Which is probably why I always picked it out. This is like so impossible, but I'm trying to get as much as I can out of it. Because this stuff is like, I don't know. This has got to be like 50 cents worth of stuff left on this grinder. I don't like that. I think that's about as good as it gets. Yeah, right? I mean, like a bag of this was like $4, I think. And I had to use almost 2 of them. And that's like only 60 grams. Just like immensely expensive. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to move on to adding the vanilla, of which this recipe has a lot of. You know, that's right. Like, frozen food is actually very nutritious. Same with canned, though, honestly. Like, you know, if you can't get fresh, or if you're like me and you can't plan well, cause like where I get my food, let's put it that way, is like highly variable. Cause like sometimes when I work, I get fed at work. Sometimes, so you know, I don't work for a place that has a canteen or anything, so I'm not like, you know, I can just go grab a snack at any time. It's more like I'll work events that get catered. And so, you know, I can't really plan to have, you know, X amount of fresh food because I really don't know. Especially with the way that I get scheduled. It's like, well, I don't know how much I'm even working this month. So if I'm not working, then I can buy more fresh food because I can cook, but then I kind of have to because I'm not getting fed. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't think buying stuff shipped from Germany is that cost effective for me. However, I still kind of want that stupid bread slicer machine. I don't even eat that much bread, but it's kind of like I might if I had a bread slicer. Okay, I have to say this smells really, really good right now. It's also really, really pink. What you're seeing on screen is pretty much how pink it is. Alright, time for me to preheat the oven because it's almost time to shape the cookies. Oh, that's dope. I'm a planner, but not a prepper. So I really hate doing stuff like that. So like, I'm okay with planning my grocery list and going to the grocery store, but if it involves any like post-production, I just can't do it. You know, when they're like, oh, when you get home, you should like do all this stuff for your herbs to last longer. I'm just like, I'm not doing any of that. I'm tired now. I'm just shoving everything into the fridge and I'm done. Wait, so you have to cook that celery though, right? Because like when you freeze celery and then you defrost it, it's just like limp dick. Lip dick tester. Sorry, not safe for work. Sounds good, Sebastian. I will. Oh, that's a good idea. Pickles. Okay, I'm getting distracted. I have to measure this flour now. We're gonna do this the professional way with a deli container. Also, excuse me, my allergies. I never used to get them, but nowadays it's just, whew. Also, I gotta clean up a little bit. Excuse me. No, I don't ban friends who post links. Only likely harassers. Alright, flowers going in. I really can't emphasize how good this smells. Like, definitely make this recipe with any freeze-dried fruit that you are in love with, because, like, they just smell like, I don't know, like strawberry milk. Okay, I just can't let this dollar's worth of freeze-dried powder go to waste. Can't do it. There we go. Alright, this is just so pink, you guys. Like, if you've got girly girlfriends, you know, people with daughters who are really into pink, definitely make and bring this to whatever you want, because they will probably go nuts over this. Alright, and it's time for me to clean up my area. Because we're going to shape these cookies. Dude, yes, do it. So it's a little bit redder on camera than it is in person, but yeah, that's pretty accurate actually. So it's probably not going to be this pink once it's baked, but it should stay fairly pink. It's very like strawberry ice cream colored. Anyway, yes, continuing to clean up. Also washing my hands so you know I'm not a gross person. I mean, I'm a gross person, just not while I bake. All right, arts and crafts time. Not my favorite thing to do. By the way, arts and crafts is just my name for doing finicky stuff with baking. If I'm doing anything other than portioning and dropping it on a cookie sheet, that's arts and crafts. Parchment paper. Depends on what kind of piping. If you're just piping the dough out like choux pastry, I would not call that arts and crafts. But if you're like decorating a cake, then yes, absolutely. Oh my God, so messy. I'm dying inside. I really hate doing this kind of stuff. guys. Thank you for thinking so, because sometimes I think like I complain too much about this sort of thing, where it's like, oh, anything more complicated than a drop cookie is just too much. So thank you for commiserating. Yes. Totally unnecessary part. But I also kind of get it. Because, like, I guess, I mean, you usually put crumble on top of, like, fruit pie or, like, fruit crumble, literally. Or, like, the shortbread bars that I made. And so, like, yeah, it makes sense to put it all around a fruity cookie. I get it. I see where Solo was going with this. But also just, like, I hate this. Really, this is, like, you know, facing my fears in my, I don't know. I think I'll journal about this later. But I mean, it's funny, like, so for her jammy shortbread bars, her, like, little story is that she used to make, like, handmade Pop-Tarts at her and her husband's restaurant. And I feel like this is how she felt doing those. Because she was like, I had to make them perfect. You know, I, like, whenever I taught anyone else to make them, like, they just, like, made them, like, you know, too much filling, too little filling. And she was, like, putting H sprinkle on with, like, tweezers or something, you know, just, like, real perfectionist level stuff. And it just, like, made her hate life. And I'm like, yeah, that would definitely make me hate life. But even doing stuff like this makes me hate life. So okay, the more I'm doing this, the less I hate it. I think it's like the acceptance that this is not going to get finished very quickly. Slowly coming to that realization. Also, like, I mean, she doesn't say anything about this in this recipe. So I don't think it's a problem or something to worry about. But I just really dislike handling dough. Not in like a prissy, like, oh, I don't want to get my hands dirty kind of way. But just like You know how like every single recipe is like, don't overmix, or if you overwork the dough, it's gonna be tough. And that has stuck with me for like every single recipe forever until the end of time. It's like, if I touch this dough, it'll get ruined. And it'll be all your fault. Anyway, time for this one to go in the oven. Yeah, but I mean, even like pie dough, right? It's like, oh, if you like keep on trying to roll it out and stuff, like it'll get tough and gross, and you've fucked it up, and you know, nobody will ever speak to you again because your pie dough is disgusting. And for things like pie, well, just like any dough, right? Or like pie dough, especially, it's like you ruined it at the very last stage. So it's not like, oh, you put a little bit too much water in the first stage and it's like gummy, and you can still like kind of add a little more flour or just like toss it out and start over. Like, no, you can't do that. You already made the dough. And now you mess it up because you're like not a confident, you know, pie dough shaper or whatever. So, funny story about that. I am like a chronic under waterer and under shaper for pie dough. Especially for that reason. You know, same with like folding stuff. You know, people are always like, don't overfold it. Like, what are you doing? Like, don't touch it anymore. And so I'm like, okay, I'll fold it like 5 times. You know, I'll give it like 5 swoops of a spatula, and then it's like not mixed at all. And then it comes out all like weird and lumpy, and it's like, well, yeah, of course, because you didn't mix it at all. And it's like, well, but you know, people are always yelling at me not to overmix or, you know, put too much water or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, just do spoonfuls of ice water into the pie dough until it just comes together. And it's like, okay, I guess this is coming together. Like, not really. It seems really, really crumbly, but they said just to put a few spoonfuls of spoonfuls of water, and like not to like go crazy, because if you put what you think is enough water into pie dough, that's like too much. So yeah, I'm totally like a underdoer in that sense, and that's also why I don't like doing this really involved stuff, because then it's like, there's more chances of me overdoing it where they say not to, and then it's ruined. Anyway, But this is coming along not too terribly. This is also definitely the most colored recipe I've ever done. I have made things with food coloring before, but as a rule of thumb, I don't really like using food coloring. I know it's like, oh, there's like a generally recognized safe amount, and you know, people eat food coloring all the time, and it's like, well, we're still here, we're still alive, but it's like, yeah, you know, but if I can avoid it, like, I just won't use it. Yeah, I think that's a good way of thinking about it. Like, I think the only time I've ever really used it is in, like, Red Velvet. And the cocoa that I use becomes so dark that I would have to use a ton to even get it to look kind of like what you would get at a bakery. And I mean, it's kind of why Red Velvet at a bakery doesn't really taste like anything except sugar. But it's also my favorite. So, I'm only slagging off Red Velvet because I like it. It's not at all like a I'm too good for Red Velvet kind of thing. Yeah, pretty much. I think the story is that it's made with a type of cocoa, was it Dutch cocoa, that turns reddish after it's mixed with an acid, so like basically white vinegar. And then over time, people like really leaned into the red part of it. And you can kind of do it like naturally, like put beets or like beet juice into it. Like red isn't the hardest color to do naturally, you know, obviously. All right, looks like we maybe have one more pan to do. First one has about 4 more minutes to go, so I think I'm just gonna wait for that to come out and then keep going. Or I'll just use the third pan. I think I'll just use the third pan. I think some, I think that kind of happens with like chicken, like egg yolks too, where they don't have to eat a high quality diet. They just have to eat like marigold or something. And that makes their yolks very yellow or very orange. And then also the same with salmon. I think salmon might be the most notorious one, where like they're pink because they eat shrimp, or naturally they're supposed to eat shrimp. But if you farm salmon, they eat just like random fish food. And then they have to color the flesh or else it's like gray. Yeah, but we don't eat flamingo. At least most of us don't. But salmon's definitely one of the I think most common ones that everyone kind of knows about. Maybe not know about that they color the salmon, but like knows that, oh, salmon's supposed to be pink. Well, I mean, you don't. But yeah, I just meant like salmon is one of those foods that people expect to be pink, and therefore they color it to be that way when it's not. Because yeah, I believe if you don't color farmed salmon, it's a pretty gross shade of gray. Which, I mean, if you were used to that color, I don't think gray would be a problem. Like, most fish isn't really like that great of a color. I mean, I don't really look at the color of fish. Oh, there we go. Is ham colored pink? All right, I think these need the full 14 minutes. Ah. But what about like really fancy ham, like prosciutto and like Iberico? Cuz those I would imagine that you can't color Iberico cuz that's like a very protected, like, not brand, but you know, protected type of special food that the special food people say it's special, and it is pretty special. It is really good. Oh, you mean just kind of like normal, like supermarket ham, where they call it ham, but it's really just like very salty meat? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I also don't really eat ham, so I never really looked into that. I do like Iberico and prosciutto, but again, since those are sort of like protected ways of making the food, I think probably they're just naturally like kind of pink. I mean, Iberico is like incredibly dark. Yeah, right? There we go. It's the first batch. Looks good to me. I don't have anywhere to put this. I did not plan ahead. Yeah, and then they also they have like this really nice crackly look. I'm really excited. Yes, definitely make these. Yeah, I mean, I probably won't. Well, I might actually be able to eat one on camera because I still have to make the rest of these. And they take about 10 minutes to cool on the pan, but then probably longer afterwards. Well, she says at least 10 minutes, and then she doesn't say anything more about cooling them on a rack, so we'll see. I mean, the only thing you have to sub really is the egg replacement. Like everything else, like obviously the butter is easy. Everything else is vegan. However, I don't know if the egg yeah, I don't know if the egg is what makes it crackly. I want to say, yeah, I really don't know. I am not a food scientist. I only know how to play with dough. Yeah, like, I think what I've heard for vegan egg replacement is like flaxseed. Diana might know, because Diana's vegan as well. I am a horrible person, so I haven't looked into any kind of alternative baking. It's just not. I guess it's like yeah, it's just not in my purview. I am a horrible person. I eat animals, and I don't care about people who can't eat gluten. Just kidding, I do, but I don't actually know anyone who can't eat gluten. And I've never had to bake for anyone who had any dietary needs. So, yeah, I mean, like, I've never had to do it out of necessity. And I have a bunch of crumble left. Yep, don't know what to do about that. I guess I'll just keep it. No, I don't. I think I'm sure there's something else I could put this on in some other recipe, so yeah, I'm not bothered. I'm just gonna put it into a deli container and then freeze it like I do pretty much everything these days. Oh, I could have used a smaller one. Oh well. Frozen celery crumble. I mean, celery is close enough to rhubarb that maybe you could like trick people. Oh, my favorite part, cleaning up. I do have to refill my flour. Oh my god, I am out of flour. That is shocking. Also bad. So I will have to make a note of that. Alright, we're just gonna wait now. There's nothing more for me to do. He's helping. He has 2 right hands. They smell really good. Okay, this is... we usually say having 2 left feet. I don't know, is there a saying for being, like, not dexterous? I'm not sure. I mean, that saying would mean that you have 2 usable hands. Exactly. You would be awesome at everything. I mean, it's not like you're not already awesome at everything. So I don't know what you're talking about. Me, on the other hand, I can't even do things with my right hand very well. Because I'm just a clumsy person. Well, thank you. What you don't see, you know, not shown on camera, is all of the mess that is on the floor and on the counter, because baking is messy. Well, like, here's the funny thing, right? Is like, so I play an MMO, and all of my hotbar obviously is left hand. So, like, you know, yeah, like WASD, but then also, like, all my hotbar abilities are my left hand. And I feel like I'm pretty decent at doing stuff with my left hand. Also, like, you know, when you do keyboard shortcuts, it's like almost always left-handed. Aw, dude, thank you. Wait, but have you ever had any of my baking? I feel like you can't say that if you've never had any of my baking. Yeah, see? Pictures are pictures, you know. Whenever you go to, like, some Instagrammable place and it looks amazing, and then you have it and it's, like, disgusting. I mean, not saying my stuff is disgusting. Of course, my stuff is, like, decent, but, you know. Look at that! Woo! 3D! like really proud of my work, and it's totally like a high standards thing, I think. No, but these look really good though. I'm very proud of these. And I've been very surprised that I've been able to do this on camera and like talk and bake at the same time and not make a huge stupid mistake. Where I just like forget an entire something. Like, yeah. Cause that's like, oh, thank you. I mean, when I do that, when I bake by myself, like, that's my worry, right? It's like, oh, I'm like reading the recipe and I'm like, did I forget to do that? Did I forget to put that in? And now that I'm baking while talking at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, even more things to take away my concentration. But I feel like it's actually helping a little bit, because I think part of it's like, if I narrate the recipe, say it out loud, which I don't do when I'm by myself. I don't talk to myself. I'm not like a out loud kind of person. But like when I say stuff out loud on stream, I think it really helps with like focusing my attention. So yeah, that's been interesting. And while I was saying all that, I forgot to turn on the timer. Okay, I'm gonna set it for 10 minutes and see what happens. Yeah, I'm really not. Like when I'm by myself, I'm essentially like nonverbal. All of my thoughts are in my head. I don't know, maybe, yeah, I don't really know. It doesn't not work. I think that's just how I am. Yeah. But I think because that's my working style, or like my, not working style, but just like personal style, it's like kind of bothersome if I'm working with someone who does talk out loud and like think out loud. Not really bothersome, but like kind of bothersome. Like noticeably something. Like I was supporting this I was supporting this meeting like a couple weeks ago, and I shared this office with one of the organizers, and she's the type of person who would like basically like narrate her to-do list, or like narrate what she was doing. Not like, you know, constantly, but she would just suddenly like say something and be like, oh yeah, like I need to do this or something like that. But she wouldn't say it in a way that sounded like it was for herself. She would say it in a way that sounded like she needed something. Maybe that's why. Because I think if I was working with someone who, like, what they said was, like, very obviously, like, for themselves, that wouldn't bother me. But if it sounded like they needed something from me, then, you know, I would like perk up and be like, oh, like, you need me to answer something, or, you know, because I tend to be like a noticer, I guess, like very, I just like notice a lot of things. I wouldn't say I'm observant. I just notice a lot of things a lot of the time. So like when there's like something out of the ordinary, or like, you know, like someone breaks the silence or something, then I'm like, oh, like I need to notice this. Again, it might be like having Asian parents. Because it's like, if they start talking, it might be something I need to pay attention to, but they don't make it obvious that I need to start paying attention. So I just like notice things. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But yes, people like me would appreciate people like you if you must talk to yourself. Yeah, I mean, that would be the case in China too, but I mean, I grew up here, so. I mean, you could always just see if that's true, or, you know, try to be aware if that's true. But I feel like people who do it often enough, like, other people will tell them, so they know, like, they know that they do that. Because, like, the lady I was working with, she was like, yeah, sorry, I talk to myself when I work, and, like, I know other people have said that they think I am talking to them, but actually I'm just talking to myself. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, it's almost lunchtime. What should I have for lunch? Yeah, I think you're fine. But I've also never had quiet working time with you, so I also wouldn't know. So I guess someday you have to taste my baking, and I have to have quiet working time with you. And then we'll never speak to each other again. Aww. Well, I would make something vegan for you without stuff that would kill you. Because that's what friendship is all about. Not killing each other. Okay, so there's this bakery that has something. Okay, it's called Craftsman and Wolves, and they have this cake called Bees in Provence. I know I said that in an American way, and I'm not sorry for it. However, it has almonds in it, but it sounds so good. It's a honey mascarpone cheesecake with lavender lemon whipped ganache. And I'm just like, maybe it's okay, but I would have to buy an entire cake. It's not really that big either. It says it's 4.5 inches. So it's gotta be like this big. I know, it does sound really fancy. Actually, yeah, like, it kind of sucks. Like, it's 4.5 inches, so it's gotta be like this big. But it's $36. And it also has almonds in it. And I'm just like, I want to try it. Like, it sounds really good, but also somehow has all these cons. And I'm just like, I don't know. Do I have to make like a pros and cons list for buying pastries? I might. I'm crazy like that. Do I though? No, yeah, I mean I do. I've been really frugal this month, and I've managed to get a couple clients, so I definitely can afford it. Yeah. The almond part, really not my favorite. Maybe I'll just buy like that chantilly cake from Whole Foods that everyone loves. You know, I used to love that cake too. I mean, I still do. But I don't know why it's like suddenly exploded, because it's like, it's been there. This chantilly cake has been there since like I was in high school. So like, they've had this cake for 20 years. Why is it blowing up right now? Yay, we are done. No, I think it really is just like someone on Instagram or some other social media, probably TikTok. You know what? Like, it was probably TikTok, where they went to Whole Foods and they were like, look, it's the best kept secret at Whole Foods is the berry chantilly cake. And it's like, it's not a secret. If you shop at Whole Foods, you see this cake. You buy this cake. This cake is delicious. Okay, I am actually going to try one, because I think it's been enough time. Let's see. Let's take a small one. They should all be the same size. Okay, we'll try this one. I know, they should all be the same size, because I used a scoop. Smells so good. Here's the cross section. Let me try to do this without making a huge mess. Let's see. Focus. Alright, that's as good as it gets. Girl, you gotta make this. All right. Oh yeah. $100%. Yeah. Yeah. I want to say this recipe, the best advertisement for this book so far. But this is like, yeah. Yup. Okay. Yes. Order that fruit from the German website. Okay, what if I bring it like low and slow? Or maybe it's like focused on the face. It's like, oh, you have a face in the camera, and therefore you must want to focus on the face. Anyway. Yes. Anyway, make this recipe. Do it. It's from Sola L. Whaley's book. Sola L. Whaley's book. Start here. It's like, I think it's number 5 in the baking section, but it's like very close to the beginning of the baking section. Go crazy with the freeze-dried fruit. I mean, like whatever flavor you want. I also bought blueberries, but I didn't use them. I used more or less half raspberry, half strawberry. So yes, very pink. Blueberries will probably make it purple. For whatever reason here, you can get like freeze-dried mangosteen at Sprouts. It's, I don't know. Like, sounds cool, but yeah, Sprouts, what are you doing? Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, you can really taste the fruit. The crumble adds like a nice texture, nice taste to it. Also kind of breaks up the fruit cloyingness a little bit. It's like really chewy. It's really nice. Yeah. So make it. Yeah, like at Trader Joe's, I think they were all kind of the same price. I think they were all $3.99 for a bag. So like I got blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. The only one she says not to use is bananas. Well, I guess you'll just have to eat it all. It's a tragedy. You're just gonna have to eat all of that freeze-dried fruit. Or, you know, make something with it. Awesome. All right, well, that's it for this stream. Thank you all so much for coming. I guess I should give a shout out to my one Ko-Fi sponsor. My one Ko-Fi patron is Dave. But if you want to support me, buy me a coffee, whatever. No obligation, obviously, just telling you that it's there. And yep, thanks for joining. See you next time. Bye.